All right, thanks for remaining with us. Today, June the 23rd, is International Widows' Day, a day set aside by the United Nations to address poverty and injustice faced by widows and their children in many countries, especially in Africa, where once widowed, women are often faced with a denial of inheritance and land rights, degrading and life-threatening burial rights, and other forms of widow abuse.
In many countries, a woman's social status is linked to her husband's. That's when he dies, a woman no longer has a place in society. To regain social status, widows are expected to marry one of their husband's male relatives, sometimes unwillingly. For many, the loss of a husband is only the first trauma in a long-term ordeal. Such cruelties are often seen as justified in terms of cultural practices. Let's bring you this report.
God Almighty will make them to reap what God prepared for them. They will not die premature deaths.
Nkechi, Shama and Mercy lost their husbands years ago, but the incident for them feels like it happened yesterday. These women could not hold back their emotions as they reflected on how rough the road has been for them without their spouses.
My husband's family abandoned me and my children. They don't know if my children is going to school or not. They don't know. If not this foundation.
Well, I suddenly found myself a widow with 4 children, and it's not easy coping all alone. Especially when the husband family decided to collect everything that could have used to, educate these children.
When my husband left me, it wasn't a good one, because all my thinking was how to raise the children, because those children, they have been attending good school. Immediately their father died, I could not afford to pay their school fees.
These 3 women, like other widows here, had struggled all alone until help finally came their way through this group of people that provides succor for not just widows but the downtrodden. Each of these women was given a certain amount of money to support their families.
Since they have been paying my children's school fees, I have peace of mind now. Before, I cannot sleep without taking my BP drug, but now I sleep like newborn baby.
It's not just enough for you to pay the fees, the school fees for the children. There are other expenses that they also need to meet. So how do you help them? How do you empower them?
Foluke, the group coordinator, believes partnership between the government and non-government organizations would go a long way in putting broad smiles on the faces of these women, as well as give them hope that tomorrow will be better. Abimbola Agbibi, TVC News, Lagos.
About 245 million widows across the world, and majority of them actually Nigerian women.
And 15 million
yes.
of them live below the poverty line.
It's
all
really
because of widowhood, really.
Well, joining us to discuss this is a grief consultant. It's the first time I'm hearing that. You have something such like a grief consultant. Ayo Jayola, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Earlier, we reeled out some of the challenges that widows face in this part of the world. Is it as bad as it seems or is made to look? Is it improving or is it even getting worse?
It's very bad, and that's the way it looks. In the Black African society, let's start from there.
Yes.
Widowhood in the Black society is terrible. In the Western world, it's not. There are things in place. In Africa, we have a culture for women to work or not to work. That's a habit that some people have. You know, when a woman is hardworking before her husband died, when the husband finally passes on, she's still in the habit of working. She knows how to take care of her children and all that. Most women didn't work when their husbands were here. So when the men died, they got confused. How do I do it? But that doesn't mean they should remain in the problem that widowhood poses.
Yes.
Widowhood poses a lot of problems. Immediately a man dies, the woman finds herself living in a 2-bedroom, I call it 2-bedroom apartment. Even if you're in a duplex, it's 2-bedroom apartment. One is the wilderness where you pray to get pure water or food. The other room is where you have a thick forest. You don't know where to go. You start doing like this, struggling. How do I do this? It's a phenomenon. It's a situation that is killing. Wow. I'm a widow 9 years.
Wow.
and I'm standing. Some widows can't stand.
Okay, that's
but we want to address it.
What we've had, just so we set the stage properly before we move forward to empowerment and how you are the way you are today. But share your experience with us when your husband died.
The experiences are the same. So
across board.
Don't the same grieving pattern and the same situation and the same experience. One, the widow loses her stand, her own stand, where she stands. She doesn't know how to put her foot down or place her feet. She loses her status. I did too. She loses her rights in the family. I did too. She loses respect. I did too. I lost the way I could handle the children. I lost the father figure that guided me. When I lost my husband, there were things I wouldn't know how to place before the children. The father could do that better.
Yes.
I had to learn how to become father, mother. It doesn't really work. The children know you are a woman. There are some respects they will give their father, they won't give you. You have to beg them, please, Babai, your father is no more here. Let's, you know, you need to pamper rebellious children. Every widow goes through that. We have widows who are neglected by their children, things like that. And then the most important
and the rebellion maybe stems from the loss of a father.
Yes.
Maybe their own way of dealing with
home,
it.
let me tell you, let's stand it the point. When a home loses a father, that home is something else. So people should keep their husbands very well.
So what about the society? Was society kind to you?
Society, what do you mean society? What do you mean society? The society is the general world in the African context. They are not nice to widows. Maybe we'll say 5% of kindnesses come to widows. Widows who ask look like beggars. But if they don't ask, shouldn't you at least try to help? The society is not trained to helping widows.
It's interesting you talk about, you know, when widows ask, they are seen as beggars.
And it's not a shameful thing. It's not, it shouldn't be shameful for a widow to ask. It shouldn't be shameful. I've asked.
Who does the widow ask now? Do you ask government? Do you ask society? Do you ask
before
the family?
before government, have you forgotten that the family first? So in the family, in the widow's family, the first thing she hears at the onset of death is, don't worry, we'll take care of that. And she relaxes, she's back. After the funeral, she's now waiting. They said, I shouldn't worry, everything will be taken care of. Nobody is now asking. Then you now buckle your seatbelt and say, yes, I'm now, yes. And then that's the family.
Yes.
Friends too leave because they are not sure of your mind towards moving on. Why? It may be this man. I have to take care of my husband. I have to. No. You know, a widow wants to move on. Everybody will suspect.
Is it made worse when the man dies intestate without a will?
Yeah.
Well, I have friends whose husbands wrote wills. They are in court. They are not owning the property. People are contesting. Why should you have it? My husband died intestate. I have no problem. I have no problem. I face problems.
Why didn't you have a problem?
Because I've been doing this for 21 years before I lost my husband.
Okay.
So when he died, I continued. So I had the experience of managing things. Because people come to me for counseling. Why wouldn't I be able to take care of my own situation? The situations are there, but managing the situation.
So apart from taking legal actions, what other actions are there for people whose husband died without preparing their will?
I thank God there were no actions in place. What Lagos State is doing now is fantastic. Every police station now, a widow or woman that is harassed can go and write a statement and they'll follow it up. Before, I didn't hear of that. Lagos State has put that every police station. Just go there and they'll follow it up and fight for you. The mediation center are doing it. We have lawyers. My organization, we have lawyers we can call. You understand?
And your organization is Serendipity House?
Serendipity, yes. This organization is not to take care of widows who beg. We want widows to be empowered also. Don't beg. I tell my widows, if you need to sleep with somebody because of the rika of rice, come to the office. If you need you think you're under pressure, you can't handle it, come to the office.
Of course, there are different categories of widows. You
Yes,
have
three.
The young,
Three.
You have the young,
Three. No.
Exactly. You
three.
have the young women.
We have widows, pampered wives, like me, who can manage the situation a bit. We have widows, middle income earners, who can take care of the really poverty-stricken widows categories. And we have widows that are 25-year-olds. Yes.
How do those ones even go on? How
They
do they
have
even
to
begin
go on
to process
if
it
they need to
in
stay
their minds?
alive.
I mean, you talk about empowerment, and
Yes.
I'm just thinking, Ministry for Women Affairs and Social Development,
they are
for
doing
example,
very well
do they
now.
step in to close the
Yes,
gap?
they have. The Ministry of Women Affairs in Lagos or maybe other states too should be for women generally.
Okay.
We are fighting now that they should have a widows commission. 5,000 women will become widows in the black society daily.
Every
The data.
Okay.
We are 259
All right,
million now.
Ayo, we will soon wrap up the
Yes.
session, but let's look at widows in the conflict area. Widows who are coming in terms of the Boko Haram attack and everywhere. You are in a peaceful place, at least to an extent, you can sleep easy. But these are widows who won't even sleep easy and probably don't have food in their stomach. How do we handle that?
Let the government come and see for themselves this situation. People can see, the government can see. We don't want the government to shy away from these things. NGOs alone cannot do it. Government can see. They have the manpower, they have all the money, they have everything. Let them go there and save the situation. Get these women out of that place you are talking about. They can put women in shelters. We want shelters now because a lot of women are
Totally
homeless.
But
Now,
beyond the
you
government,
talked about the plight of
beyond
widows.
the government,
Yes?
You talked about the plight of widows elsewhere, maybe in the West, for example, compared to the plight of widows here.
Yes.
Now, in government intervention,
Yeah.
what kind of interventions do you expect? Let's be specific
We need
about
a
them.
shelter
Yes.
and everything that can be in the shelter that will make a widow feel if it happens, I will be taken care of. That's it. We need a place to stay. A place of peace,
Beyond
love,
the
protection.
government. Beyond the
the government,
government, yes.
NGOs are trying too.
Okay.
But it's too much on NGOs. I run out of a lot of money. I've sold things to run the organization. Government has never come in to say, take this.
You run a support group. I wonder if any particular story of a widow stands out in terms of inspiring or maybe otherwise, you know, that should be instructive for us.
Well, we've had widows that had to be taken care, chased out of their homes, that we had to get money to rehabilitate and things like that. Widows that we need to support their children and things like that. It all happens every year, it's the same. And we are always there by the grace of God to do some. We raise money from helpful hands. Some people say, oh, let me send you money now. Let me send you money now. And we do it.
And I wonder how far those, you know, handouts go. Never alone. That's a theme for
Never
this year.
for this year.
Never alone. We hope that the plight of widows improve, and not only in this part of the world, really, but
World
you know,
over.
everywhere. Thank you so much, Ayo Jayola, grief consultant. I'll be excited to talk with you on this particular one, maybe
I'm so
sometime,
excited.
some other time. All right, thank you so much for coming on Breakfast.